What is up, everybody? Andy here from the Residents of Evil. We've assembled the Residents of Evil team because we've got the interview of the century. Yes, we're sitting down with the Bloober boys over at Bloober team. We're going to be talking about their brand new title, Kronos. So, gentlemen, initially introduce yourselves, say hello to the extended Residents of Evil community.
Hello, guys, and thank you for having us. So, my name is Wojciech Piejko, and I have a pleasure to co-direct Project Kronos with my friend
Jacek Ziemba. Nice to meet you, and it's awesome to be here today.
Gentlemen, we really appreciate you making time for us today. I know it's super late there, so we'll kind of jump into the action as soon as we can. So, initially, you're stuck in an elevator with us, and you need to pitch us Kronos.
No problem.
What is Kronos all about? Let us know.
All right, so in Kronos, you play as a traveler, this mysterious person hidden beneath the environmental suit, and you've been sent to ruins of human civilization that was destroyed by this mysterious disease we are calling the change, that basically wiped out the humanity. And your goal there is to, of course, survive the encounters with monsters, solve puzzles, explore the city, look for the time rifts, and jump back in time to extract key people who didn't survive the apocalypse. That's what the Kronos is all about.
And if you was, how do we say this? All of the time you've spent on this world, why are you devoting all of your time specifically for Kronos? What are your motivations for making this game? Out of everything else you could be doing in your life, why Kronos?
Because we love survival horror, and we have a chance to make a new one, and we have a privilege to make a new IP, new game to this pool of awesome games. So that's dream come true for us.
I suppose that would naturally come into what your inspirations behind Kronos. I know off air you've mentioned The Thing, kind of body horror, etc., etc. What are the main inspirations behind Kronos?
Okay, so if you started with movies, so of course, Carpenter's Thing, Annihilation, Netflix movie about this anomaly appearing in a world. 12 Monkeys, of course, like a convict being sent in time, to try to fix something. But also the Dark Netflix TV series was super important for us. Yeah, it also, is set in European town and tells the story about, like a group of people involved with this twisted time travel story. So that was super important. And of course, in terms of games like Resident Evil, especially Resident Evil 2 Remake, our favorite game.
Yeah.
Of course, Dead Space because of other suited protagonists and sci-fi vibe, but also Control. Signalis was also really awesome. From less obvious Blam manga, that was also something that really hit us hard, inspired. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, what can like a little bit of Nier Automata also is somewhere there. I think a little bit of Bloodborne in case of like there is a disease in the city and people go crazy and you are somebody maybe connected some way to it, or you need to do something about it. Death Stranding, in a way, also in case of vibe, also make a very big impression on us when we play it. Resi 4 Remake, Resi 8, and also, OG Resident Evil, like I think we play second part and third part, even, hey, you see how they make some scares like 20 years ago? Yeah, let's try to do something similar here and there.
Silent Hill is in every our game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as of survival horror fans, probably there are many other games on a subconscious level, like Eternal Darkness or our favorites.
Yeah, Evil Within, The Last of Us. Yeah.
Well, you guys definitely said all the right things.
Yeah, dude, he's got me licking my lips over him, man.
Yeah, this sounds fantastic. And I guess, some of the inspirations, if we touch on, there's a lot of different directions we could go with this. And it does look like a very well-polished, modern survival horror game. But when you bring up The Thing as one of my favorite horror movies of all time, I can't help but see the inspiration in the enemy design. One of the catchphrases was, "Don't let them merge." And that reminds me very much of, the creatures in The Thing. And I guess what inspirations did you take from The Thing? And is it, inspired the enemies? And how does that work?
I think like the thing, maybe not born body horror genre, but make it like bigger and more visible.
Yeah.
I think also important inspiration that is from body horror is Zygote, this short movie on YouTube by Neil Blomkamp. I think it's like 5 years old or maybe even more. So I really recommend to check it out. It's awesome. So the thing, it's like okay, how the creatures are merged or created. Of course, our creatures looks a bit different, but just it just brings stuff to your imagination, and also this fear, like okay, who is infected, who is not infected. Also, it's more or less a little there in the story, in the game, but it's not like we watch the thing and show all the people, hey, let's do this or that. I think
Yeah.
also it's more like some conscious inspiration after watching this movie again and again and again and again, but it's also not the main one. I think the main one it's Dark, this TV series about time travel and survival horror games like Resident Evil or Dead Space.
No, yeah, the time travel thing is interesting, but one thing that I hear you repeat is body horror, gore, right? And I really like that. So you would say this is going to be much more focused on body horror like Resident Evil, Dead Space, as opposed to like psychological horror like the Silent Hill series.
I think it will be a little bit both. So
Oh.
with this game, like we focus very heavy on gameplay, and body horror is important in case of monsters because they are created only from human flesh. That also was the rule, like for artists. Like do whatever you want, just keep it still from the bodies. Don't add any materials different, stones, metal, or anything else to make it more special. So even our most common monsters maybe you saw in trailer, it's like it looks like a one person, but it's like maybe 5 people
Okay.
merged into one, having like 3 arms here, a couple of heads, and this creature still thinks I'm a human, but it's not. And you can also meet creatures that it's made from 10 people, and this creature definitely know I'm not a human and it don't like a human, but it's built from humans.
Okay. So like where Resident Evil has zombies and BOWs, Dead Space has Go for the Limbs. You guys have for these creatures merged together to become something new and terrifying altogether. That's cool. That's cool. I like that.
For everybody who's watching the stream live, this is an exclusive look into Kronos and probably your only opportunity that you can get directly involved with the developers and ask the questions that really matter. So if you've got any questions, we'll try our best to kind of pop them up on the screen and get them answered promptly.
Yes, and thank you guys all so much for the support in the chat. We appreciate it. We won't be able to read everything right away, but we'll come back around to it. Also, Bloober team has set us up with a contest. So if you guys would like to potentially win a bomber jacket, which looks super sick, I got to see a picture of it. This is how you enter, and the rules are in the description. So win a bomber jacket. There's a hidden mysterious password on the Kronos Steam page, which there's a link to that in the description. Find the password and send it to community@blooberteam.com with the email subject Residents of Evil Contest. The first person to send the correct password wins a bomber jacket. You have time until April 24th, 4 p.m. CEST to submit your entry. So thank you, Bloober, for allowing our audience to participate in that contest. The bomber looks sick. Definitely, if you have a minute, go apply for it. Go figure it out. Go to the Steam page after this stream.
And actually, I completely forgot that Jack has the bomber jacket on.
Oh yeah.
So here we go.
Let's give us a twirl.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it has a traveler at its
so
back.
let's stand.
Yeah.
Let's check it. Like
Oh yeah.
Oh, look, that's
Cool.
glorious. I actually really like the main
Yeah.
character design, man. Like,
Yes.
Can you speak a little bit about the travelers?
Sure.
Yeah. What do you want to know?
Everything.
Yes.
No,
Okay.
what are the motivations? If you, so far as is reasonable, of course. What are the motivations? How did they get there? What path are they on, etc.?
I think you need to play the game to know.
It's not out yet. I can't play it.
Yeah, so the game is like a built, with this, let's say, cold open when you are, waking up as one of the travelers, and then like being sent to find your predecessor, because you have to know that since the travelers are jumping back in time, they don't want to mess with the time flow too much, so they are sending only one traveler at a time. So yeah, you need to find your predecessor and pick up where he left off. So maybe that's what we can share today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
One
very
thing I
cool.
really like about the main character is the design, right? So they're called divers or travelers, but their suit is a mix between like an astronaut, a spacesuit, and a diving suit. And I mean, you can clearly see that. I like that. What was some of the inspiration or some of the ideas you guys threw around for that main character design? Because I do think it's really interesting and unique, and it fits the theme.
Yeah, so you already named it. Yeah, like the main inspiration, as it is a diver in time, was like old school, diver suits. Then of course we mixed it with a little bit with the pilot suits. We went a little bit to astronauts, but we decided to be more, heavy, more mechanic, more analog. So we were also inspired by like suits, for example, in Alien franchise, that are bulky, heavy, and stuff like this. And maybe from less obvious things, we were really love also the Onion Knight from the Dark Souls, which is like a very recognizable character despite being like a really hard, heavy armored.
Yeah, what was
Yeah.
important, to not create a soldier, but a traveler, somebody that more like need to go somewhere. Of course, we are fighting and do other stuff, but it only means to the end, and then it's jumping to the past and extracting other people. So yeah, in a way, we create a perfect traveler that can survive mostly, we hope, anything
Yeah.
the world can throw on them.
That
Yeah.
suit is really interesting. Do you guys plan on any like upgrades to the suit design throughout the game? Anything that you would be doing with the suit to better help with your ability in the game?
Like not visually, you can of
Okay.
course upgrade your weapons and suit by different means. In case of visually, also we didn't want to be like bigger or have different suit later and later, because we want to start as concrete traveler, like, okay, I'm ready to do my mission, I don't need upgrade my suit. It's there. It's not like with Isaac, like he's thrown into the station and like, okay, now we need to survive, have fun. Yeah, for travelers, like, okay, I know what I'm doing and why I'm here and there. Yeah, so this is why we don't want to go into let's expand visually. No, it's like finished design from the get-go.
But you can unlock different suits. Yeah,
Yeah.
for example,
Ooh.
for playing a game. Or,
Yep.
Nice.
And
Okay.
that are crazy.
Yeah.
That's good, Dad. And you guys mentioned upgrades and stuff. How many upgrades for weapons and abilities? Like, how many upgrades do you guys have planned for this?
So every weapon can be upgraded, and your suit.
Yeah.
I mean, like your half pull. Like how long the enemies are burning. You can also upgrade your flamethrower,
Inventory space.
inventory space, and other stuff. And in addition to this is something that we, I think we shared it somewhere. That when you extract people, they are coming with perks, and you can carry only 3 essences of people with you. And yeah, this also affects the gameplay.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
We're getting loads of questions coming in, so I'm going to start to rattle through them.
Let's go.
One that's immediately sticking out to me, which is super interesting because it's already on the. You've already got a fantastic Steam page already set up for it, and that is: will the game be Steam Deck verified? It looks very ambitious, but I keep my hope.
It's tricky. So we are still in development. We're still working on that. So at this moment, it's hard to say like, yeah, definitely yes, like definitely no.
Okay.
Got another one coming in. I'll come to you in a moment, Becky. I just heard you breathe.
I heard
I'll
you.
come to you in a moment. What's combat going to look like? I'd love to see it be messy and not just in the form of gore. So can you elaborate on that,
I
gentlemen?
think it can go crazy at some point and at some moment in game when you are surrounded by monsters. You kill one of them and then see, okay, others want to merge with that one. What you will do? So in a way, it's quick tactical decisions all the time. Which weapon you will use when? Okay, enemies are merging there. What should I do? Do I have my flamethrower or use another tool, or I will risk something to avoid that? Oh no, they merge. It happens. What now? How to survive? So on, so on. So yeah, I think it will be messy in a good way. That you can bring a lot of fun and emotions and cool experience with each combat.
Yeah, but overall, like everything is built around the merge mechanic. Yeah. So if you kill the enemy, its body like throws out tentacles out of itself. So it feedbacks the player that this body may be absorbed. And the other monster, when it notices the body, it also throws the tentacles and goes to absorb it.
Yeah.
If you let it happen, the monster will evolve. It will, of course, have different stats, but also the AI will change. Like it will unlock different attacks. It will be, for example, more pushy, more faster, and so on. But the worst part of the merge is when you let monsters absorb the abilities of different monsters. So, for example, if you have a shooter and this shooting monster will absorb the body of the armored monster, you have armored shooter, for example, which of course is more threatening to you. So yeah, don't let them merge.
Yeah, so like each dead body is like, okay, I'm winning the fight. Okay, I'm creating a fuel for other monsters.
Yeah, survival horror, a lot of backtracking. So yeah, living bodies, may backfire at you. And of course, you have means to deal with it. Yeah, like a flamethrower attached to your arm. But again, as Jacek mentioned, it's all about the decisions. Yeah? Will you use it now to burn the body, or maybe will you save it to save yourself? Because when you get surrounded, you can also use it to stun monsters that will start to burn, and you will buy some time for you that you can outmaneuver them. Yeah.
Or you will be more offensive and just stun enemies, to create a space for you, and using other weapons, etc. Also, weapons have a charge mechanics. So you can shoot normally by pressing a button, but you can, hold it, then guns will charge, like most of them. In most cases, the damage is bigger, but also then guns act differently. So the main gun, our handgun, can pierce through enemies when it's charged. So also risk and reward. So yeah, I think it can be messy in a good way because there's a lot of stuff. And also it will be important how well you are prepared. What you craft, what you don't, what inventory you take, how many space you have for it. So also, a lot of decisions before and after the fight. Yeah, a lot of fun.
Okay. You guys touched on a few things there that I just want to recap on. You mentioned inventory management, so you will have limited resources that you have to manage.
Yep.
You mentioned backtracking, which is awesome. So the game's going to be more of like Resident Evil Dead Space style, where there's big open chunks that you can kind of go through and backtrack. It's not going to be more of a linear experience, like let's say Callisto Protocol, right? That one was a little bit more linear.
No, I think it's closer to like Resi 8 or Resi 4. So like you will have some linear stuff, of course, but from time to time. So each mission have this big area that's something to explore. And then you go back and forth, unlocking some stuff.
Yeah, you can think of core loop of Kronos as exploring like a semi-open location. So there is like a traveler's base in the center of the New Dawn, which is the district where the game is happening. And there you got your target. For example, extract Jacek. So and you know that Jacek is, for example, living in sector A5. So you go there, try to look for the rift there, and here is like a semi-open area. Then you go back to the base, receive new target, and explore different parts of the district.
And each district, each part is also like a different biome, to also go somewhere else, and we can tell different stories, what happened in the city, so on, so on.
That sounds fantastic. So you're basically your main hall is the dome. Your central hub. That's cool. Very cool.
See, Beggy, I see you was chomping at the bit to get a question in there, but was any of your questions answered in that segment?
Yeah, a couple of them. I was going to also say, it sounds reminiscent of Resident Evil Village, where you have the central hub and then you have these different biomes, or you have these different houses to explore. Each of them have their own theme, their own story. So this is kind of like, I'm thinking like maybe wide linear, a little bit larger than like linear, and then with some backtracking segments. You mentioned burning, and you mentioned sort of mechanics of stopping merging. So I imagine there's going to be some incentive to go back to old locations, which may be more dangerous from the merging. And it sounds like the burning mechanic is actually what stops the enemies from being able to merge and keeping the foes dead. So yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of going on. I think I answered most of my questions if they weren't before. So
Well, it's very rare that people leave you speechless, Peggy. Very rare. So initially, gang, let's talk development. So we briefly spoke off air. How long has this been a thing for?
It's like around 4 years in development, and the idea came somewhere closer to the end of the medium in 2020, 21. This is when we create the pitch for the game and go into full production just right after we finish the medium.
Wow, you guys take on a lot. So you guys were working on just finished medium. You had Silent Hill 2 remake, and then you were also working on this. How's that been for you guys? Like just all these projects that are going on. It seems like you guys got a really good handle on it.
So we have like two core teams. So one was Silent Hill 2. Now now with the new project, and one was us with the medium. So after the medium, a lot of people go to help Silent Hill. This is how it works in our company. So we have like two projects, like
in a different stage of development. So we are like like a gears. Like one is like a finishing. So we transfer some people from project to project, but there are always like a core teams that people are, let's say, untouchable, that are attached to project. Like for example, us in project Kronos.
Nobody can touch us. So
backbone.
But joke aside, so this is mostly how it works, and this gives us advantage of like we can make more risks. It's not like we are only make one game and it goes wrong, mostly we have a big problem. We still have second one, and it works like with Layers of Fear. It was ending, so we started doing Observer was ending, then we jumped to Blair Witch, Layers of Fear 2, and the medium with different moments of production. When medium was close to the end, Silent Hill was in pre-production, so on. Yeah,
I see.
And have you got a rough period of time where you think this potentially could launch? Like, how far do you think you're in development, if you can say, of course?
This year.
This year. Yeah.
So basically, what we're trying to say is it's not going to be a 2027 release.
No.
Definitely.
Please don't.
Yeah.
No, like
definitely 2025.
Let's go. Let's make it this year. Yeah.
That's nice. You guys move quick. I mean, it was just announced not too long ago, and then now we got a lot more rolling out. You're doing interviews, and it's dropping this year. That's nice, to not have to wait years for something to come out. You guys had a pretty good cycle with that.
It's nice to share, like you do something for years, and now like, oh, now we can talk about it. Okay, let's try. Let's go.
Yeah, but I think overall, the marketing campaigns in the industry are shorter than before. Yeah, because people were, in my opinion, a little bit, maybe not tired, but you have to push this marketing campaign for years, and it's not easy, especially when the game is, in the first stages. It's not ready to show to the public, so you must do like, I don't know, CGIs or stuff like this. So I think the campaigns now will be shorter everywhere.
I think nobody also like, okay, there is a game reveal or something. Yeah, it will be here in 5 years. Yeah. So this is good strategy.
So he kind of answers Matt Valentine with a €12 super chat. Thank you for that, Matt. You kind of answered that part. He said, did you start working on Kronos while you were developing Silent Hill 2? But he also says, and did your experience on Silent Hill 2 help shape or influence Kronos in any meaningful way?
I think original Silent Hill 2 was, it inspired all our games, and it's in all our games, in a way, the philosophy of it. That's a bit funny. But at some point we did a remake of it, being a very big fans, for the years. So original Silent Hill 2 is also in Kronos. The remake, give us a head start in case of pre-production, because the second team or the first team, I don't know, let's call them first team, need to go through it first, through the first person camera, combat, everything. Our previous game was like first person, or like third person but fixed camera, like the medium. So we still know something, but they, pave the path for us in case of the technology, idea, etc. So it was a bit easier to start Kronos. And overall, to have an idea, okay, now we want to make third-person survival horrors as a company. Let's try to go in that direction.
I see. And not to get into Silent Hill 2 remake because this is about Kronos, but one thing I did want to say is you guys had some massive shoes to fill with Silent Hill 2, and I'm sure you felt the pressure, but you guys did a phenomenal job and knocked it out of the park. And I just want to know, what was your thoughts to the reception on the Silent Hill 2 remake? Because like I said, that must have been a lot of pressure, and you guys, in my opinion, pulled it off.
Thank you. Yeah, that was amazing day because, as you said, there was again a lot of pressure. Let's say different comments on the internet. Most of them were not like let's say Bloober friendly from the get go. And of course, we played the game because we play tested and we knew that okay, it's not what people are saying or afraid of.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember the day coming to the office, when the game was launched, and seeing meta, and I was like, yeah, we did it. Yeah, I feel really, really happy for our friends from Silent Hill team because they give their hearts to the project, and they deserve it. So yeah, that was awesome.
I think big relief and being proud of like, okay, we made it, they made it, like we proved something and we can move on. So that was awesome day, and also a bit surrealistic, like everybody now love it. Okay, that's a new feeling for us.
Yeah.
Well, what on that note then, we're talking about what you took away from Silent Hill 2 remake. It's a new IP, Kronos, in an extremely challenging and demanding market because there are just so many fantastic games out there. So what are you hoping people take away from Kronos when they play it?
So I hope they will like like a gameplay, because as Jacek said, this game is more gameplay heavy. So it's like a full-fledged survival horror with limited inventory and a lot of cool mechanics, like like the merging, but also tools that the traveler can use that are complementing the puzzle system, for example. So you can expect like a typical survival horror-ish, like doors and keys, rearranging statues and stuff like this. But also this like a cool mechanics that was also presented on a trailer, like the gravity boot section when you can attach to different platforms around the gravitational anomalies that travelers left there to help you, or the emitter that you can use to, for example, reverse time and rebuild the bridge that was shown in the trailer. So I think there's a lot of cool things in our game, and also the story, because we know that now with this trailer we focused mostly on gameplay, but there's also like a really cool psychological story there to experience. So we know that the game starts big, like save people, save the world, but with each hour it narrows down to more intimate story about yourself, about people that you are extracting, and all those web of connections and awesome things that we don't want to spoil.
Yes, there is a gameplay, there is a world to explore, and there is a story to relive. So let's go.
Yeah. And you guys mentioned kind of some of the weapons and enemies. This game, there's a couple things I want to touch on. Will it include different bosses for each area, or will there be like one big boss for each biome, or will it be like multiples throughout the game?
I maybe will not say where they will be, but they will be there. Yeah.
And
but there are some bosses.
Yeah, somebody say something in the office like, we have a bosses. So
yeah. Is there any stalker enemies like for example, like Resident Evil's Mr. X? Is there anything that'll like pursue you?
Maybe.
Great answer. Thank you.
We spoke about this, guys. You can't just say maybe to every question.
It's horror.
Sorry, we forgot.
Well, so I actually like to ask something. So, like, is there going to be a collector's edition for this? Because I mean, as you guys can tell from behind me, I'm big into physical media and collector's editions and stuff like that. Is that something that you guys thought of during production of this?
Yeah, we are still finishing the idea how we want to and when, of course, go with the game. So I think definitely it's something on our radar. I'm just not sure, in case of what will be included, etc., etc. So yeah, if we make it, awesome. Again, it's hard to tell. Like definitely yes, definitely no, because it's more for publishing stuff.
Yeah, we are
us.
just humble developers here.
Just making it.
yeah.
Have you got? There's been a ton of different console announcements recently. Can you share with us what consoles you intend to release it on?
Yeah, no problem. Like for now, it's PS5 and Xbox, both of them. Yeah.
And of course, Steam.
Yes, of
Yeah.
course, and PC.
So
Yeah.
PC, yeah.
I see. You guys touched on it a little bit, but will the game feature like puzzles, a variety of puzzles throughout the game?
Yeah, definitely. Some old school ones, doors and keys, also rearrange this and that, find this and that, or bring power here and there. But also, as Wojciech said, we have these mechanics, that make environmental puzzles. So, bring something that was destroyed back in time, or gravity sections, or we mix this stuff together, and also we have other mechanics that we maybe don't want to uncover now. So you have like classical puzzles and environmental puzzles. In case of like difficulty of these puzzles, they will not be like super hard, and they shouldn't be because of case of pacing. This game is closer to Resi 4 and Resi 8, so it's a bit faster.
Yes, don't expect like the level of puzzles from Silent Hill. Yeah, for example.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
with
wanted
this game,
to-
we go more action than anything before. Yeah.
Very cool. I was going to ask some questions about the past timeline and the city that it exists in. So we know a little bit about the environments and the building styles, the architecture style being inspired by Krakow in Poland. And I wanted to talk about, what is it about the sort of bare, honest, kind of functional design of the town, or maybe even the creatures within it. We have like this statement that I found actually about the architecture that sort of inspired this area. It was really fascinating. I haven't really looked into the style before, but it said a common theme in brutalist designs is the exposure of the building's inner workings in the exterior of the building. And I was just kind of thinking, is that something that kind of dually inspired the orphans and the monsters, as well as like the sort of outer world that they exist in? And what is it about that you find fascinating, that you want people to experience?
Okay, so let's unpack this.
Mhm.
Yeah, so the New Dawn, it's how we call our district in the game, but it's heavily inspired and a bit recreated by the real district in Krakow. It's called Nowa Huta. It's so like New Steelworks in translation, and it's a district built from scratch in 50s by Soviets near Krakow to create like opposite city and to show like, okay, like communism, can make it, and let's make a big steel factory there. It was one of the biggest in the area, maybe even in Europe. It was very big, and let's try to do it. So the idea was like cool, but of course they ran out of money, so they never fulfilled everything there. And it was of course a propaganda city.
Yeah, like like a dream for workers. Yeah,
Yeah.
there is a factory and
Dream.
the city around it. Yeah, you have everything there.
So yeah, and this is why brutalistic architecture is there, because of 50s, 60s, and where we are in the map of the world, and we want to use it because we want to use Poland again, because we did it in the Observer. So we recreate one building there. In the Medium, we recreate one hotel. And in Kronos, we recreate mostly the whole district. Of course, we reshuffle something here and there, but if you will ever have a chance to be in Poland, you can go there and be like, okay, I was there in Kronos. Oh, I saw that. Oh, this is where I fight some monsters. It's so well recreated, and we are, sometimes revisit the place, also to show it to people or something. I have this urge to walk like this.
That's
And
cool.
it's mind blowing for me. Like, okay, why I'm doing that? Like, I'm not in the game, so it's fantastic and it's interesting. And we use this, brutalistic architecture with retrofuturism and cassette futurism. It's well known from like Blade Runner or like Alien, so it's like more grounded. analog sci-fi to also make the whole game and theme heavier.
Yeah, and it connects really well with,
Yeah.
with brutalist architecture, and so it just like a complement the world we were creating. So it was like a obvious choice. Let's do this.
And just to create something new, a bit different, and share some part of history, because it's alternate history. The world ended in 80s in our game, but I think you can still learn something and check something there. So
it was also a time when the martial law was introduced in Poland.
Yeah.
So we, as Jacek said, use it to create alternate history. What if the martial law was there to cover the change, for example?
Mhm. Very cool.
Yeah, there was a nice section in there actually about kind of localizing it to Poland, because as we know with most games that are released in the West, they don't have a lot of like European, as a European myself, I don't have a lot of European representation. So we're moving away from that kind of small town, small Midwestern US town, of
me.
Raccoon City and Maine for Silent Hill, etc. So it is nice to have this, a real personal touch for Bloober, I guess, with Poland.
Yeah, like we made it a couple of times, and with each iteration of the idea, let's use Poland as setting, like we have more ideas how to do it better and more interesting. So it's also exciting for us, like, let's use something that we know and we can share with people that, it can be exotic, for people outside of Poland.
Yeah, and the designs from that period of time are awesome. Like the old cars, furnitures, like the carpets on the walls. Yeah, that was really common in Poland. So it brings memories, of our grandma's houses.
Yeah, when I was looking at the imagery, even in the first shot of that cinematic trailer that you had, there's almost like a super striking resemblance, and it's just like very nicely, beautifully adapted. And one thing that I was thinking about was you have this partially the thing inspired story. You have presumably enemies that can merge, and then you have these this sort of concept of assimilating. And organisms assimilating other beings, becoming something new that they're not currently. And then you have that duality. You have that, and then you have kind of the opposite of this brutalist architecture, very simple, bare, transparent, just raw. And so you have something that is completely honest and completely
I think
represents
it's
what it is.
in a way, because in brutalistic architecture, it also means like power and like unity. Like we are all in this together in a way. So I think it's also it can be disconnected and like be opposite, but at the same time somewhere there it's connected, because how Soviet also works that time with propaganda and so on, because also one of the themes of the game, it's individuality versus collective. And
that's also
we also ask a lot of questions there, because there was a question at the beginning. It's like, it's more psychological horror or like body horror. It's like both, and at the same time it's like philosophy horror.
Yeah. I was gonna say, because you have an enigmatic sort of organization, you have the collective and you have the traveler, and they're all very nondescript. But then you have these poor orphans left behind who are laid bare. Their skin is crudely splayed. It's they just reveal everything that they are is extremely apparent to you, and it's very graphic. So that kind of dichotomy, like it seems like there may be themes of guilt running here a little bit. Like, could I save everyone? Could I have stopped this change from happening? And am I right to be on this side of it rather than on that side? I could have been an orphan. So there's a lot of sort of emotional angst and pressure that seems to be really this scenario, this environment is very conducive to that. And that's what's really kind of like calling to me. I like that duality there. So
so it's working. Like even now we because you didn't play the game, but you saw so many materials, and now you have so many questions and ideas and feelings, and that was the idea behind most of our games. Like we want to ask a lot of questions, but we don't answer them. It's for the player to figure it out, what I'm thinking about what I'm playing and seeing.
Yeah, exactly. And in terms of like also different topics that the game is touching, it's also about like classical sci-fi question of what makes us human, like a transhumanist kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
It's also there, and who is worth to save, because sometimes when you are being sent on a mission, you can choose who you will extract. So imagine you've been sent to extract me, but you also meet Jacek, and maybe he's just a better person or has a better perk.
Wow.
If you are pragmatic, yeah. So it's up to you who will you extract. So who is more worth, to be saved?
Yeah,
It's also one of the
and
questions.
should we even think about it, that there is worth?
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and the trick is that the traveler can carry only 3 essences of people.
Mhm.
So yeah, you will be pushed to make tough choices. Yeah.
So, a couple more questions from the community. I appreciate this is probably a very early question to say, but it is worth asking because there is such a diverse, like, you get some real short survival horror games and you get some super, super long ones. So, have you guys got an indication of what you can tell us of how
Yeah,
long Kronos is going to be?
Around 20. It can be like 80. Depends, how you explore the game. If you want to find everything, it can be even more than 20.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a big game.
Yeah, I think the current playtesters are 80 to 20. Of course, we are still balancing things, and you can also, cut the rough corners here and there. But I think, 60, 80, 20, depends on,
Or your play style and how much stuff you want to see, so on, so on.
Thank you, Matt, for that question. Mr. Nice Try, regular here at the Residents of Evil. Can we expect extra game modes, time-based events, or multiplayer?
So it's a single-player game with New Game Plus. That's all.
Yeah, and harder difficulty
Yeah.
mode to unlock. Yeah.
For
That's
real
good.
travelers.
I like the new game plus there. Do you plan on down the road, if it's very successful, and this has happened with other games in the past, if it's very successful and it does very well, meets all your goals or surpasses your expectations, do you plan on adding any future story DLC to the game down the road, possibly?
I think, if the game will be big success, that will be fantastic. I think what we want more to focus, it's let's make another one.
Okay.
In terms of VR, virtual reality, etc., is there any plans to implement that, or is it pretty much going to be a third person over the shoulder? That's this intention.
Over
That's
the
this design.
shoulder. Like, we are old school guys. So.
yeah, that's honestly you're preaching to the choir right here.
Old
Yeah.
school guys. A
Yeah.
fixed camera mode, maybe. That'd be crazy.
Let's
That's
not go
old
crazy
school.
now.
Maybe some modders will do it. I don't know.
Is it running on the Unreal? I think it's running on the Unreal Engine. Is it?
Yeah.
Can
I
you,
know
can you talk a little bit about that?
Like it was a new engine when we started developing Kronos. So also, it changed a lot and being better and better, and also, help us with many stuff. Like, okay, maybe normally wouldn't be that easy because there is so much stuff now integrated into Unreal Engine 5 that wasn't there before. So of course, it give us better visuals, but also different rigs for characters, and make job of our animators a bit easier here and there. But it's also a changing organism, so it's different engine than when we start and when it's now. And I think with each year it's better and better and more ready for other developers to use it. But for us, it's just a tool in a way. Yeah, like. I think some engineers or programmers can talk more about it. For us, okay, it's a tool that we use, that we choose. Let's go. Yeah.
That makes sense. So Frozone coming with a question here. It's a bit of a long one. This game is scratching that Dead Space itch. I'm so glad that this game exists. Thank you, devs. I do have one quick question. How will merging work? As in, how far can a monster evolve and merge?
So how far? Maybe let's not. Let's somebody check. Let's see what happens. We don't recommend it, but let's go.
Definitely it can evolve a few times.
Yeah, a couple of times.
And what we mentioned, it can absorb abilities, which is, in my opinion, worse than.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when they eat too much, you don't want to be there. it can be problem. And yeah, we are also happy that we can make this game, because I think it's one of the games that we're creating and we're like, damn, I want to play it, but I will never have this experience. Yeah.
So this one's a really good one. Again, I don't know how much you can speak about it, but is there a potential that it's going to have multiple endings, or are you guys kind of like one shot? This is a starting point, and that's the destination.
Multiple.
Yeah, we can confirm that there
Yeah.
are multiple endings. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
It's
Oh, yeah.
also worth to play the game, in my opinion, at least twice, because it's a time travel story. So on the second
maybe-
playthrough, you'll notice a lot of nuances about the characters, their decisions, and like this web of connections will be probably revealed. So yeah, and you can also extract someone else, or also find all the secrets, because there are also like dead travelers somewhere in the world that you can find, and they failed on their mission, and some of them will have the souls inside of them, so you can transfer them to your traveler, for example. And yeah, and you can save all the cats. Yeah. That's the yeah. We don't want it to be all loom and gloom, so instead of typical collectibles, they are still there, but we also added cats, so you can basically find them, pet them, they will give you some
That's cute.
gifts for it, and all the cats will then appear in the traveler's base. You can play with them.
You'd be a crazy cat lady. Perfect.
Yes.
That's sick. Now you guys say that you could try it in the game, and we know it's going to come out sometime this year. Are there any demos planned?
Yes. Oh, yes.
At this moment, it's also hard to tell. All the
okay.
demos are, also a tricky part for development and developers. So for now, we are focusing, to bring the best experience we can in our time frame. So in case of demo, I don't know.
Well, there was, just to pick up on that point, because that's a really good point. I did read an article that there has been a kind of closed hands-off demo that's been shopped around to a couple of different outlets. What has been the reception of that, and has there been any challenges out of that demo?
And can we get that?
Yeah, can we get that?
Yeah, so overall, like, we use our development build, so it weren't a demo. We just find, okay, this will be a good part, like maybe 2 hours after the beginning of the game, when a lot of stuff is behind us and we have more weapons, and first big mission also is there. The biggest challenge, I don't know, playing it all the time. No, it's most like, okay, it's real, like we can show the game, and all of them, people love it.
Yeah, we mostly did it, during the GDC. So we invite some press to, to see the game. And as Jacek said, it was like a beginning hours of the game, but just after the tutorials. So we were showing, how the merge works, like, letting few enemies merge and saying, like, do not play this game like this.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. I will show you how to not play Kronos.
Yeah.
And then, we played some parts.
And then answer some questions, but most of the time, reception, not most, sorry, all the time reception was very, very good. So maybe the hardest part was like believe in it, like, okay, like, yeah, we are sharing our game after a couple of years, and people are digging it and understand our influences, references. So yeah, that was awesome. Like, I think one of the best stuff was like when we go to GameSpot and like we very quickly start to talking about the same stuff, and they saw a lot of references there that that there was a Blum, we are also inspired by Blum, by this, by that. So yeah, very refreshing and pleasure experience.
We know that survival horror is extremely, I wouldn't say diluted would be kind of a mean way of saying it, but there is a lot of variety. So as a developer that's making a brand new survival horror IP, what do you think are the challenges with implementing a brand new game in the space?
I think it's a privilege right now, because the industry is not in a best shape right now. So even that we have this like our shot on a survival horror like bringing new IP now is hard. So yeah, it's really cool. But to be honest, it's like I think with every other game, do not overscope it. Yeah. And in horror, like the
Less
tip
is
is
more.
less is more. Exactly. Yeah. So don't explain everything. Don't rely on jump scares. Bet on tension building and dropping. I think those are most important things.
Yeah, I think what's maybe a good advice or what we see in other games. I think Signalis is a great example. Just find the right combination. Sometimes you don't need to make anything groundbreaking with the combat, or gameplay, but you can make a groundbreaking story, groundbreaking themes, groundbreaking world. I think Signalis did that. It's like sci-fi Silent Hill that nobody see it's coming. Yeah. So but you can go also our route. Yeah, let's do something else with gameplay. Also like Dead Space, that introduce cutting the enemies, that change how we play that game to other survival horror. So it's the same with the merge system. So yeah,
Yeah, I think you touched the important thing. So we all played Resident Evil. Yeah, it's like let's say a backbone of survival horror, and it's all about where you take it. Yeah, because
Yeah.
we love like let's say replaying or the mechanics that we already know. It's like going to the gig of your favorite artist. You have fun because you know that songs. Yeah, and they resonate with you. And it's all about bringing this like a nostalgic vibe of it. It's your home, it's your game, but giving also something new. Yeah. Like Dead Space did like a cut of the limbs, like Alan Wake did this mechanic of flashlight disabling the armor of enemies. Yeah. So yeah, it's important to have your own ingredient, but also to evoke this feeling of yeah, it's a game for you. You love survival horrors. Yeah, we are here for you.
Yeah, like if you create survival horror, like don't maybe add RPG mechanics, like heavy ones. Yeah, like okay, it's still some idea why I'm playing this game. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And you guys are massive survival horror fans, and you guys are doing a lot for the survival horror community. Right off the top of your head, both of you, favorite survival horror game? Go.
Silent Hill 2.
Resident Evil.
Oh, that's deep. That is Silent Hill 2.
My two favorites too. Silent Hill 2, Resident Evil 2. That's a fantastic answer, and both are correct. That was that was not a choice. That was just
But
yeah, it was already predetermined.
Resident Evil 2 original.
Oh,
Yes. Same.
the man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Music to my ears.
This is kind of off topic, off the record, random question, but you guys did Silent Hill 2 remake, your team did. If you two could choose another Silent Hill game to remake in the future, what would you choose if you could pick off the record?
Definitely on the record.
I think the second one was one of the best. So yeah, that's behind us in a way. I know the first one could be interesting. The fourth one also, yeah, tough question.
Yeah, I'm thinking about Silent 4 for some reason.
Yeah.
1 for you, 4 for you. Perfect. Now, what Resident Evil game would you like to see remade next?
5. I want to see when they make it maybe a little more serious. Like I love Resi 5. I don't have big problems with that. I finished it like 10 times or more. I know it was less horror, more full-on action, and let's create, let's destroy some rocks here and there. But I don't know, I love it. Also, it was just different a lot, but still. So I'm just interested after Resi 4, that was also more grim, dark, and serious, and was great. I'm just more how they can approach 5, and it still have co-op. How Chris will look like. And Sheva and everything, yeah. So I think for me 5.
Yeah, I would also love to see Resi 5.
Yeah. But if they will remake the first one again, let's go. Why not?
You hope. Very good.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it on the head with 5. 5, I've always said, I appreciate this as a minor digression. I've always said that 5 is a fantastic game, but not a fantastic traditional Resident Evil game. Like there are parameters that Beggy's done a fantastic video.
Yeah,
What are the parameters of Resident Evil, and it just falls outside of that box for me.
Yeah,
But
like,
a fantastic game.
if somebody don't like fifth one, did you play sixth one?
Yeah.
I also like it, but that was hit and miss here and there.
Yeah, if I can make a wish for a remake, I would love to see Eternal Darkness here again.
Oh yeah, that would be, a lot of people love that one.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of just been forgotten about, really, isn't it? Eternal Darkness, Obscure, etc. Man, you obviously you guys are at the forefront of this, but survival horror fans, I know you're saying that survival horror is in a bit of a lull right now, but over the last 8 years, we've been eating extremely well.
Yeah.
Extremely well.
I think overall horror is back. Like in media, in movies, series, like we are back, baby.
What do you think? What do you think the catalyst? This is a very interesting topic. What do you think is the catalyst for that? What really kind of we moved away from it, whether it was films, games. What finally brought it back for you two?
I do believe it's the answer also lies, in Dark Souls series, which in my opinion is really survival horror-ish at its heart.
It's fantastic survival horror.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, there was a moment in the industry that everything went like let's say, too action-oriented. Yeah, like let's do, a lot of, explosions and stuff. Yeah, and then, make everything big. And then the Dark Souls came, like the, hard, challenging games were, back on the main pages again. And I think that was also, like the, let's say, catalyst, for return of survival horror. Yeah, and Resi Remake 2, I think that changed everything. Yeah.
That this formula can work with new technology and new approach, and people love it. So that also, I think, opened many doors for many developers to let's. There is, there are people that want to play these games. I think, but also there is a theory, but it's a theory that, like we play horror games to feel better, and I think last couple of years maybe weren't so easy. I don't like this idea because I love horror as it is, but also maybe that there's also something there.
Yeah, definitely. It's back, made a resurgence, and that's great. Yeah, we are eating good. I have one more question for you guys, if you don't mind. Okay, somebody completely new to this. Why should they play Kronos? Why should they check this out? If you could just like quickly pitch it to anybody who's new that's joining, or anybody rewatching.
Okay, so like we are big survival horror fans, like hardcore ones, and you are survival horror community. So our game is a love letter to survival horror. So if you like it, if you love it as us, I think you will really like it. It's a game for you.
Yeah, to experience this crazy story, and all those emerging mechanics and everything we cooked for you. I think it's a really, really lovely game.
And I think it's very important that, these new IPs are very important to the survival horror genre. Sure, it's nice to see these games make a resurgence and come back and see them again retold. But new IPs are where it's at, where the future is going to be for survival horror. So I think it's awesome that you guys got this original idea that just is influenced by so many different things that came before it. And it's a love letter and homage to the genre as a whole.
Yeah, thank you.
Just right at the end there, feel free, Beggy and Tony, in a moment just to speak about your last questions. But we've just had an absolute boatload of gift subs in the chat. JJ, if you want to recap this and quickly recap the competition for everybody that wasn't tuned in, that would certainly be appreciated.
Yeah, Mr. Nice Guy, thank you so much for gifting out 5 members. No, we just appreciate you guys so much for, what you're contributing to the survival horror community, for taking the time to chat with us today. I think Kronos looks fantastic. I'm very excited for it. I think you guys touched on pretty much everything that I wanted to know, and I'm sure a lot of other people in this interview. So thank you so much for doing that. And then to the Kronos contest, which we have running right now, thank you for allowing us to do that. You guys have a chance to win a bomber jacket, a Kronos bomber jacket. There's a hidden mysterious password on the Kronos Steam page. It was just added today.
Bomber jacket.
Find the password and send it to the community@blooberteam.com with the email subject Residents of Evil Contest. The first person to send the correct password wins a bomber jacket. You have time until April 24th, 4 p.m. CEST to submit your entry. Details are in the description. Go participate. Those jackets are sick. I want to buy one.
And of course, Jack is going to kindly model
Yes.
said jacket for us.
So the traveler on the back. So,
Yeah.
Love that, man.
I want the traveler outfit.
And there's a lot of stuff from Kronos here and there, numbers.
Very cool. Very cool.
Is that going to be a product that's going to be outside of the competition, of course, which you can check out in the pinned comments? Is that going to be a jacket that's going to be sold on the Bloober store at some point? Because that is actually a really nice
It's
jacket.
a good question. I don't know.
Maybe.
Maybe.
For now, it's only for the team, and and as a rewards for competitions, I think.
Well, I'm sure there will be a massive waiting list if that did go live for the general public. But Mr. Nice Try coming in with the 5 gifted memberships at the end there. Thank you kindly
Thank you.
for giving back to the Row team. It's really, really appreciated. Last thoughts, gentlemen, before we wrap up. Is there any closing comments that you have that you want to extend to the survival horror community?
Thank you to participate today in the stream. It's like an honor to be here. As I said again and again, we are also big survival horror fans, so it's also a bit surrealistic, like to be here and to talk about our game. So we can't wait to show you more, and can't wait to release the game for all of you and see what you think about it.
Yeah, we really appreciate you guys. You have the courage to to look for light in the darkness as we are, and that's awesome. So thank you for that. Thank you for playing our games, and hope you like Kronos.
Yeah, we're absolutely gonna follow this as the development. I mean, this is really where it's at right now. Just following it, getting little tidbits as it comes out, and absolutely, the Residents of Evil is going to be there every step of the way to make sure your game gets into as many survival horror hands as possible.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you.
Indeed. And thank you to everybody who's tuned into the stream today. It's going to go up as a VOD if you want to go back and go through the comments. There's so much exclusive content right here that these fine gentlemen have gone through. So again, thank you everybody that's tuned in. Hopefully we'll see all of you once again soon here at the Residents of Evil.
Bye.